Screw it, we're going to Mars. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Martian Chronicles, which this includes some other stuff too, but just the Martian Chronicles. So this is my second read of a Bradbury collection, and I have to say I did like the Illustrated Man a little bit more, although the Martian Chronicles was still interesting. I think one of the things for me is that the Martian Chronicles, although it's still different stories and some of them in a different style, we're still kind of following the same general thing, a lot of similar themes, whereas the Illustrated Man kind of was a more diverse, there was a lot more going on with different styles, different settings, things like that. So I think that made it a little bit more interesting, but I still like this one. And I'm very interested to continue reading more Bradbury, and we'll be continuing to, which this is a part, I was reading this for the Ray Bradbury book club that is happening in Jake the Bookish Drummer's Discord channel. So I'll link down to his channel if you want to check that out, because I've been enjoying getting a read of it. But yeah, so let's talk more about the Martian Chronicles. So this is, and it talks about in the introduction, it's started as just kind of a collection of different short stories in bits and pieces here. And the publisher is basically like, hey, why don't you turn this into the Martian Chronicles, put this all into a collection and go from there, and from there it was born. So the main theme is the fact that, you know, humanity is coming to Mars, and there's a lot of interesting ideas and themes that are explored here. One of the really big ones is colonialism, in that, you know, it's humanity moving to Mars, and we see what the effect that has on the planet and on the populace and that sort of thing. And so I think those themes work really well and are strong, although this did come off just a bit drier to me than the Illustrated Man did. Now, some of the early stories too dealt with, especially I think it was the very first one, the way that Martians would think about people from Earth, and there was kind of a fun thing where they're like, "No, our scientists say there can't be life on that planet. Are you kidding me?" Just because, you know, they're different, and so I kind of like some of that exploration. And then we saw a lot of just stories about people going there, and then other things happening as well. There were a few like wild stories in this one, is the best way I feel like I can describe them, because there were a couple that were just really absurd, and it's still like, some of them worked. There was one particular story involving a phone, if you've read it. I feel like that it's aged terribly, but it just was like so over the top at the same time. It was so absurd. I actually ended up enjoying it a bit anyway, because it was just kind of ridiculous and slapstick in a way, and I was not expecting it at all, just based on the rest of the collection. But you really do get some interesting looks here, and like I said, this one has very strong commentary, and Bradbury, again, with all of the commentary here, and with the future looking, it's all so relevant, and it really shows you that how ahead of his time he was in some ways, but also why his stuff feels timeless. Because I had said that about the Illustrated Man. For the most part, like the main thing is, like, we would use the term spaceship now instead of rocket. Everything's rocket at the time, but like, if you just change that one word, so much of this could easily have been written now. You know, it's like, we know some things are different with the science, but it's just kind of, it's in a world where we're just assuming that this is this. And so it's just kind of like, it's crazy and sad in some ways too, because when I did Fahrenheit 451 too, that was another one where the themes were incredibly relevant, and actually seemed in some ways almost more relevant today than they would have been at the time, just with our new technology. And so it's really interesting. And Bradbury is one of those authors that I've had mixed feelings, because I really liked the Illustrated Man. I loved that. Fahrenheit 451 I appreciated and I did enjoy, and the Martian Chronicles I feel like is probably my least favorite so far, and yet I still am giving it 4 stars, because it was really interesting, and I found myself, while not always being like, oh, this is so good, I'm like, it made me think. And so I think the Martian Chronicles especially, the Illustrated Man, I found more entertaining. It had more of the highs and the lows and the different styles. This, though, is it's still very engaging, and it's very interesting, and thematically is something that I still liked reading. And so I think this is one where, you know, if you're looking for your popcorn sci-fi read, obviously that's not what this is going to be, but I think it's definitely still worth a read, and it's a really solid collection overall, and I'm excited too, because this has The Martian Chronicles, The Illustrated Man. I got this after reading Illustrated Man, and The Golden Apples of the Sun, which I haven't read yet, so I'll have to check out that as well here. But yeah, I'm really interested to continue trying out more Bradbury because although it's, like I said, sometimes it's sad how relevant it still feels. I've been interested and generally had a good time with everything I've read from him so far, so I'm excited to read more. Those, though, generally are my thoughts on the Martian Chronicles. Let me know if you've read this, your thoughts on it. If this is one too, like me, where like you didn't revisit because you'd seen bits and pieces and weren't the biggest fan. That's where I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, but I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, to be honest. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. And otherwise, that is it. So make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for my Patreon if you're interested in joining that, as well as for the Wizardly Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.